We have two tales of vigilantism in America right now, and of course I'm talking about Daniel Penny and him accidentally potentially killing a homeless man who was threatening people, and then of course I'm also talking about the assassin that went and took out the UnitedHealthcare CEO, and people are saying the exact opposite of what is actually true about both these cases because, fascinatingly enough, they actually have to do with each other. What they're saying is that Daniel Penny was an evil racist murderer, and then on the other hand, that the man who assassinated the insurance CEO is a hero. And I'm just here to say right now, just to put the record straight, the people who are saying that are idiots. So Ben Shapiro was talking about the assassination of the UnitedHealthcare CEO murder, and apparently some of the people in his audience disagreed with him pretty harshly. And so I want to show you this clip of him talking about his take on all of it, as well as what the Young Turks say about him, as well as his audience. The Young Turks are a left-wing media company. Here's that video.
Nathan Robinson, a complete useless leech on the ass of society, posted himself, quote, "Live your life in such a way that people will be sad when you die." That was above a screen cap of a New York Times headline that said, "Torrent of hate for health insurance industry follows CEO's killing." That piece from the New York Times is all about people who apparently were perfectly fine with the murder of Brian Thompson on the streets of New York City.
In a development that I'm sure a lot of people did not expect, members of Ben Shapiro's own audience have been, lashing out against Shapiro and his commentary following, the assassination of UnitedHealthcare CEO Brian Thompson. Now, his own fans are calling him out for being completely out of touch with nearly all Americans who do absolutely hate our broken healthcare system. And so he published a video titled "The Evil Revolutionary Left Cheers Murder." Now, right off the bat, he's making a mistake by thinking that it's only people on the left who have been cheering on the murder or assassination of that executive. Fact of the matter is, a lot of people across the political spectrum had been either sharing that they feel no empathy for Brian Thompson or even going so far as to celebrating it.
Okay, so this is total lunacy. It's super dumb. It's super stupid. I don't care if it's coming from the left or the right, but this idea that this CEO deserved to die because he works for an insurance company, it's ridiculous. It's callous as well. Like, who thinks like this? And by the way, I have to say this. I believe that you can celebrate when certain people die. I'm not saying, oh, someone died, you have to be sad about it. Because if Xi Jinping died today, if he was assassinated, I'd be very happy about it. If Maduro died, I'd be thrilled. So I'm not saying you can't celebrate when certain people die. There are awful people in this world, and it should be celebrated when they die. But the CEO of an insurance company is not the same thing as a dictator, for instance, or a terrorist. It's not the same. And you don't have to like the guy, that's fine, but it shows a massive lack of empathy to hate someone for doing their job, because at the end of the day, his job is to maximize profits. It also shows, I have to talk about this as well, because a lot of people have come out and said, well, the things that he did, and I'm not super familiar with him as a person. I know he's not a murderer. I know he's not a terrorist, so that's why I'm not celebrating him dying. A lot of people have said, well, he exploited people. Okay, I'll get to that. I will. But here's the massive inconsistency of the morality of the left, and some people on the right as well. Most of the left does not believe in the death penalty. They believe that there's no reason someone should be executed, for instance. And their argument about this guy was that he was complicit in the culture of exploitation in the insurance industry. And again, fair enough, he might have been, I'm not for sure, but sure, let's just assume he was for a second. But people on the left and the right can agree that exploitation is not grounds for the death penalty. If you like the death penalty, no one who likes the death penalty thinks exploitation should be grounds for it. And there's obviously a ton of people, mostly people on the left, who don't think it's ever justified. So when they cheer for an assassination, I think it's morally horrendous. I do. And also, I'm sorry, but to Ben's point, if you go and watch the rest of the video, he talks about how the insurance industry is not as bad as people make it out to be. And I actually have to agree with him on this. We have it pretty good. It's not perfect. And honestly, most of the reasons why it's not so good comes down to the government and not private industry. And a lot of people don't know this. The insurance industry, if you go look at the profit margins for large insurance companies, like the company that this CEO is representing, it's like a 2% profit margin. Like, it's not big. So, do I think it's bad when people try to find loopholes in someone's insurance? Of course. And if there's a culture of exploitation, sure, let's go through legal means to sue those companies and get the people who were wronged their money. I'm good with that. Okay, I'm not saying the insurance industry is perfect, but there are far more predatory industries in the US that leftists just don't bat an eye at. They just act like it's fine. And they're not getting 2% profit margins. They're getting like 20 to 30. By the way, do you know how much profit margin YouTubers make? Do you know my profit margin on here? It's like 60%. So if by their logic, I guess I deserve the death penalty, but not even after a trial, just by assassination. I really hope that doesn't happen. But my goodness, apparently having a good profit margin is grounds for death at this point. It's ridiculous. And as I'll talk about, I want to talk about this in the next segment. They do this at the same time as demonizing Daniel Penny, who also happened to, maybe, we don't know for sure, but maybe he killed someone, but he had far better justifications for doing so. We'll get to more on that in just a second. Guys, when it comes to protection, you settle for that generic brand all the time, and it's a bad idea because on the label it says one size fits all. It does not inspire confidence, and it's not giving you the protection that you want. But with my sponsor, Caliber, they have 6 sizes to choose from, not just one, and they make it very easy to start. And they're running one of the best offers that I have heard probably ever in the history of their company. To get started right now, go to the link in my description to order your free sampler. Because I said there's 6 sizes. You get a sampler to see what size suits you best. There's no upfront cost, no shipping fees. You just place your order right now and they deliver it discreetly to your door. The best part of all of this is that it's free. So again, go check it out right now. The link is in my description. Join thousands of customers who love Caliber right now. Again, link is in my description below. So Daniel Penny was found not guilty, and this took place in New York City, and the mayor of New York, Eric Adams, was asked about his reaction to it, and I found it really interesting. Here it is.
This Jordan should not have had to die. I strongly believe, as I've been stating, probably from day one, we have a mental health system that is broken. When you have someone repeatedly going through that system, that's a signature of failure. And we need help in Albany and in the city council. We can't sit back and mourn the loss of someone that is caught up in this system when we're not taking the action every day. But a jury of his peers heard the case, saw all the facts and all the evidence, and made a decision. And I joined DA Braggs in stating that I respect the process.
So he's right. Jordan did not have to die. If you don't threaten people's lives and do crazy things on the subway, chances are you'll be okay. And he didn't do those things, and so he wasn't okay. But here, and I'll talk more about that in a second. But what is interesting about Eric Adams' response is if you listen to it, it's actually fairly right-wing. He didn't blame Daniel Penny in that. Never did he. I mean, he said he respected the jury, which I think is good because, again, this is a left-wing jury, and they still ruled for Daniel Penny. He blamed it, again, he didn't blame it on Daniel Penny, he blamed it on mental health. And this is something people on the right have been saying for years about criminals, about school shootings specifically. They've talked about how we have a mental health epidemic. And now you have a massive Democrat, the mayor of New York, saying the exact same thing. And so I think more and more people on the left are saying things like that. And the reason why is because it's manifestly true. Because it just is. Who's been in New York? I mean, honestly, I've actually never been to New York. I'll admit that. But you go to any of these big cities. I was in Washington, D.C. for the election a month ago. You go into the subway. Yeah, there's some rough people there. And I don't think they're just rough because they were born that way. And maybe they were born that way in terms of mental illness, but I just mean in terms of personality. I don't think they were just born rough. What I mean is that they've got something going on, either through drugs or through a mental illness that they were born with. But it's not just a personality trait. This is something that they are dealing with that needs to be diagnosed and needs to be helped. On the other hand, Daniel Penny was a hero. He was. Because he stopped someone from threatening innocence on the subway. That's what Daniel Penny did. And there's good evidence, by the way, that Jordan died from drugs, that Daniel Penny really had nothing to do with it. Obviously, he put a hold on him that made him pass out. That was the whole goal. But there's very little evidence that Penny did anything that actually ended up taking the life of Jordan. So Penny really had nothing to do with that. As I talked about in the beginning segment, though, today, people are comparing this guy, Daniel Penny, to the dude who went and assassinated the insurance CEO. And I'll tell you why it's worlds different in terms of vigilantism. One went, this is like the biggest defining difference. There's honestly a bajillion differences. I don't know how people even brought this up, but they have. The biggest difference is that one went after someone who had not committed a crime. The man who went after, I forget his name, but the CEO of the insurance company, that man had not committed a crime, or at least he had not been indicted or convicted of any crime. Yet he went after him. The other person, Daniel Penny, defended someone who was actively committing a crime, which is threatening someone. So in other words, vigilantism, this is my opinion, maybe you can disagree with me in the comments if you want. I think vigilantism is good on defense, but it's not good on offense. If it's offense, you're just a hitman at that point. And I don't think a hitman is a good thing, but on defense, you're a hero. And Daniel Penny certainly was. I wrote a book about the cultish behaviors of the left, and we're seeing it in real time today. It's on Amazon right now for $9.99. You can see it on the bookshelf up there. I really enjoyed writing it. I think you'll enjoy reading it as well. Again, the link is in the description to go check that out. It makes a fantastic gift for yourself or for your family and friends. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you haven't already, go down below, like the video, subscribe to my channel, and watch another video.